Every year, exposure to hazardous materials leads to thousands of injuries and hundreds of fatalities. And the more you work with them, the greater the chance is that you'll suffer a chemical burn, develop a respiratory illness, or worse. The good news is that there are ways you and your coworkers can prevent these hazmat emergencies. First and foremost, you need to know what materials you're working with and what their hazards are. OSHA recognized some time ago that workers need to be informed about the hazmats they handle on the job. So in 1983, they introduced the Hazard Communication Standard. To this day, it gives workers the right to know and the right to understand what materials they work with, the hazards these materials can present, and how to keep themselves safe. OSHA knew that this wasn't just about what information employees have access to, but also how they get it. So they require hazmat containers to have labels that follow the guidelines set in the Globally Harmonized System of Classification and Labeling of Chemicals, GHS. In this program, we will cover what the Hazard Communication Standard addresses, how the GHS system functions and its benefits, and the graphic and text elements you can expect to find on GHS container labels. Step 1 of avoiding any hazard is being aware of it. That's where hazard communication comes in. It involves what information is provided about a hazard and how it is communicated. Hazardous materials, hazmats, can present a number of unique hazards. That's why one thing OSHA's Hazard Communication Standard focuses on is how workers receive this hazard information. These details must be provided by the companies that supply the hazardous materials, as well as companies with employees who handle them. Under the standard, information is communicated by hazmat container labels, safety data sheets that are provided for each substance, and the written hazard communication program that each employer creates for their workplace. Because the original HazCom standard was performance-based, it described what hazmat suppliers and employers needed to do and let them decide how to do it. For example, OSHA told hazmat suppliers what information should appear on container labels and let the individual companies come up with their own systems for presenting that information. As a result, a number of different labeling systems were developed for use on hazmat containers. This meant that an employee might have to remember how several labeling systems work and could have trouble getting important information from a label that used a system that they weren't familiar with. This could be extremely dangerous, especially in an emergency. In order to keep everyone in a facility safe, all workers who handle hazardous materials need to be able to get information about them quickly and easily. To accomplish this, OSHA needed a standard system for presenting that information on the container labels and other documentation that is required under the Hazard Communication Standard. So the Globally Harmonized System, or GHS, which was created by the United Nations, was integrated into the HazCom standard in 2012. This system helps people anywhere in the world get accurate information about hazardous materials, regardless of the language they speak. The system standardizes how materials are classified, how their hazards and safety precautions are described, and how this information is presented. This way, all workers can find the information they need even under pressure. The GHS begins this process of standardizing hazmat information by dividing materials into hazard classes that are represented by 9 different pictograms. These images help a container label communicate hazard information at a glance. GHS container labels also use text elements to convey 5 specific types of information about a material, including its name, signal word, hazard statement, precautionary information, and the name and contact information of its supplier. The Globally Harmonized System also recommends how these elements should be positioned on the label, so an employee always knows just where to look to find the information they want. Under the Hazard Communication Standard, GHS compliant labels must be displayed on almost all hazmat containers, but there are some unique considerations for in-house containers, small containers 100 milliliters or less, and containers that are part of bulk shipments. In-house containers are secondary containers that will never leave the workplace. While in-house labels do not have to follow the GHS format, they do have to display all of the information that is required by the system. Another issue is that GHS-compliant labels might not fit on small containers that are 100 milliliters or less. So OSHA states that if a manufacturer can demonstrate that they can't use a label that contains all of the required information due to the size of a product that they produce, they may provide less information on the label than is normally required. And if those manufacturers have any containers that are 3 milliliters or less, they don't have to have a label on the container at all. But any container without a full label must have all the required information on its box or other outer package. As for materials that are a part of bulk shipments, OSHA allows their labels to be transmitted through shipping papers, bills of lading, or electronic means if this is more practical than affixing labels to the containers themselves. When the United Nations created the Globally Harmonized System of Classification and Labeling of Chemicals, they faced a serious challenge: how to explain the types of hazards that are associated with different materials to people from diverse cultural backgrounds who also speak different languages. The UN solution was simple. They used pictures. These images are called pictograms. They represent the hazards that are associated with the material that is inside a container. There are 9 pictograms in the Globally Harmonized System. They describe important information about a material's physical properties, its health effects, and how it can affect the environment. These pictograms are the main visual elements on a GHS container label and help communicate a material's hazards at a glance. The health hazard pictogram is an image of a person's upper body with a star inside it. It indicates that a chemical's hazards may include the potential to cause cancer, reproductive, target organ or aspiration toxicity, or respiratory sensitivity. The flame pictogram on a label indicates that the chemical is flammable or pyrophoric, self-heating or self-reactive, a type of organic peroxide, or that it emits a flammable gas. Another pictogram you need to know about is the exclamation point, which indicates that the chemical may be harmful to humans, be a sensitizer or irritant to the skin, eyes, or respiratory tract, have narcotic effects, or be hazardous to the ozone layer. An image of a gas cylinder on a label indicates that the chemical is a gas under pressure, which means if it is mishandled, it can release chemicals into the air, which could result in health or fire hazards. You could also see the images of test tubes, dripping a liquid on a bar of metal, and a hand on a label, which means that the chemical can be corrosive to metals and can cause injuries to the skin and eyes as well. An image of an explosion shows that the substance is explosive, self-reactive, or another type of organic peroxide. And a picture of a flame over a circle indicates that the chemical is an oxidizer, which can cause other materials to burn more intensely. The image of a dead tree and fish means that the chemical is hazardous to the environment and can harm living things in the water. One of the most serious hazard classifications is acute toxicity, which means that exposure can cause a significant illness or even death. It is represented by the skull and crossbones pictogram. If hazardous materials are being transported, you might see the Department of Transportation's hazmat pictograms displayed in addition to the GHS ones. While they may appear similar to GHS pictograms, there are several ways to differentiate them. DOT pictograms show hazard classes broken down into a numbered system, have designated colors for each class of hazards, and are placed on the outside of trucks and shipping containers rather than on the smaller containers inside. In the past, OSHA was concerned that the combination of DOT and GHS pictograms would be confusing. But they eventually decided that since both types of labels provide valuable hazard information, this was really not a problem, even if some of the information is redundant. Many dense pages of technical text could be written about any single hazardous material. But all of that data isn't very useful to someone who works with a hazmat and needs information about it quickly. That's why the Globally Harmonized System standardizes the classification and description of hazardous materials and summarizes this information so that it can be communicated accurately and efficiently, even in an emergency situation. GHS container labels use 5 text elements to describe a material's physical properties and hazards, as well as the precautions that should be taken when handling it. While the GHS does not require the text elements on container labels to appear in a specific format, the system does recommend a certain order and position for them. The material's name, as it appears on its safety data sheet, should be at the top of the label. The GHS calls this information the Product Chemical Identifier. The next element is the chemical signal word, which indicates the relative severity of the chemical's hazards. The 2 standard signal words used by the GHS system are warning, hazardous, and danger, very hazardous. Another text element on a GHS label is the hazard statement. Based on a material's hazard class and category, these phrases describe the nature and severity of its hazards. While there are many different hazard statements in the Globally Harmonized System, they have been standardized as much as possible. Commonly used GHS hazard statements include phrases such as may be harmful if swallowed, causes severe skin burns and eye damage, and suspected of causing cancer. Sometimes manufacturers will discover that a material has new hazards after it has been shipped. While they are not responsible for the labels of chemicals that are already in the stream of commerce, OSHA does require manufacturers to revise their labels for all future shipments of that product within 6 months. If employers are made aware of these new hazards, they must share that information with workers who are handling the chemicals, even if the information is not yet included on the label. And if a manufacturer learns about new hazards after chemicals have been packed and labeled but not yet shipped, they do not have to relabel the packages themselves, but they do have to send updated labels along with them. Appearing next on the label is the chemical's precautionary statement. This is usually the largest block of text on the label. GHS precautionary statements follow a standard form as well. There are two parts, the if statement and the medical response. For example, a statement that starts with if inhaled would be the if statement, and the medical response that follows would read, immediately call a poison control center. But if there are too many precautionary statements on one label, the words can appear jumbled and hard to understand, especially if you're trying to read them in an emergency. So for hazards that have similar routes of exposure or health advisories, labels only need one precautionary statement. For example, if both inhaling and touching a substance trigger the same seek medical advice instruction, OSHA allows the precautionary statements to be combined to, if inhaled or on the skin, seek medical advice. Similarly, if a hazard has two classifications that involve the same route of entry but different medical responses, the manufacturer could combine them and use the more urgent medical statement. The last element of a GHS label is the supplier identifier, which includes the name, address, and telephone number of the company that produced or distributed the chemical. When you're working with hazardous materials, the fastest way to get clear and accurate information about them is by looking at their GHS container labels. Let's review. OSHA's Hazard Communication Standard ensures that employees are provided with the information that they need about the hazardous materials they work with. Some of this information is given through container labels. Container labels are formatted according to the guidelines set in the Globally Harmonized System, GHS, so all of the information is consistent and clear. Under the GHS system, there are 9 pictograms that can appear on a hazmat label. Each one represents unique risks and hazards. The text elements of a GHS label include a product identifier, signal word, hazard statement, precautionary statement, and supplier identifier. Now that you know what information is on GHS labels, how to find it, and how to interpret it, you can stay better informed about the hazardous materials you're working with, which helps you to prevent accidents and keep yourself, your coworkers, and your community safe.